Well, Brian, we're going to talk about the secret ingredients to developing people and making disciples.
Let's do it. That sounds great.
Brian, what does it take to really develop somebody and bring them up to a place to where they're actually, able to stand up and start hearing from the Lord?
You talking about walking a journey with somebody,
I
partner
think
with
so.
someone? Okay.
Yeah. That's a big ask for a lot of
If you
people.
really want to know, it's usually 2 to 3 years.
It takes a while. I was asking guys this morning. I said, who in here knows a level 5 leader, which is a leader that you follow for who they are and what they stand for? Does anybody in this room know a level 5 leader personally? And they had a week to, think on this, so it wasn't like I sprang it on them. But they come to the meeting this morning and they said, we couldn't think of anybody that we know personally. And then one of them named John Maxwell. And I'm like, well, of course, we're studying his book. But someone you've actually known. And he's like, we don't know one. So that really struck me because when I read the thing too, I only known one that actually shook his hand and I've had somewhat of some conversations with. And the next question was, how's this impacted your life? And would this person mentor you? Ask them. Well, my answer was no, they're not going to mentor me. And can I even ask them? No, because I can't get close enough to them. They're they're
Sure.
they're in a far off place. And anyway, it's just fascinated me to think about that because we've been talking to people for a long time about like who do you have in your life? Just that simple question that pours into you, and time after time they say nobody. Every once in a while, there's a rare occasion someone will say, "I'll tell you someone who pours into my life. My uncle does." It'll be something like that. But there's not hardly a big pool of people that we run across that say, "Yes, man, I've had several encounters of people that just pour into my life." And it's like there's this big community of people that all they want to do is pour into my life. We certainly never run into that for sure.
No.
But I got to thinking, what if I could become a level 5 leader and raise up 2 or 3 level 5 leaders? I mean, that would be like a
Oh,
nuclear bomb going off in my little sphere of influence because how many people would that impact? Because a level 5 leader is someone who has been able to gather a large number of people that follow them, even if they're not in communication with them, just because of who they are and what they represent. Now, you may can think of some people who are level 5 leaders, but it really gets tricky when you have to say, but do you know them personally? So there's a deficit. We're dealing with a deficit. And I think the mission that Jesus Christ set us on is that the harvest was plenty, but the laborers were few. And so this was something that was concerning to him. He
yeah.
wept because he looked out upon the people and he saw them. They were like sheep without a shepherd. And then he's probably thinking, I've got to leave them with these 12 misfits here,
Yeah.
you know? Knowing one was probably not going to work out, Judas. So he's got 11 now.
Well, he was a level 5 leader, and what made him a level 5 leader was the two things that came before leadership. That was relationships, being relational, and then that from that beginning to have influence. So if you noticed, And I met with a guy yesterday after church for lunch, and we were talking about gifts, and we were talking about gifts of the Holy Spirit, and he was really emphasizing that. And I said, well, tell me where fruits fall in. And he wasn't sure. And he's like, well, fruits, fruit of the Spirit, love. Yeah, you love people. And I just began to talk to him and say, hey, listen, very few people know that to say I love someone would mean that you are focused on relationship building. And I said, I'll give you an example. The first time we met was a year ago, approximately, at a men's camp. But the first thing you said when you were listening to me in another conversation is that you wanted to have a conversation with me because you were watching me at camp and noticed that people were talking to me, and I knew everybody. I was giving everybody hugs. And what was the first thing you say? Man, you really love people. And I said, I love being in relationship with people. And that is the evidence of loving people. When you're in relationship with someone, two things gradually take place: influence and a leadership role. It just comes with relationship. There are a lot of people that want to bypass relationship and say, man, I want instant influence, and I want to be at a level, I want to be a leader, a high influenced, high level leader.
Get things done.
Want to get things done. We ain't got time to build relationships. I just need people.
I've got good ideas. I just need people to get behind them.
Exactly. And teamwork is everybody doing what I ask them to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when we were meeting yesterday, I said, what was the first thing you said to me when you got out of your vehicle? You said, man, I was waiting here, and I just said, I'm getting out of my vehicle. I think Brian's here. I said, it must have been the motorcycle that you heard pull up. He said, no, I didn't even know you had one. I just felt like and he said, man, I came up and gave you a hug, and it was like you and I were instantly back when we met a year ago. I said, that's a bond. There's a kindred spirit there. So the whole purpose of being a leader, or the whole purpose of modeling something, is you got to face the inevitable. Relationships is where it's at. Who's in your life that's influencing you? Who's sharpening you? Sharpen is where friction takes place. That's two sharp metal objects typically that are creating friction. It's not just enough to say, hey, I know 100 people. Well, you've heard the mile wide and an inch deep relationship, God's calling us deeper. And the closer you get to Him, the more He reveals His perspective on the kingdom, which is people, and being in relationship with people. So that's why you and I have seen it. People love the idea of relationship. They love the idea of being known as someone who loves others. But it gets messy when you begin that pursuit to do that. And a lot of people try it, and they don't follow through, or they give up because they get offended. But that's what you and I have an endeavor to do. We're going on 10 years now of meeting with men and having a emphasis on seeing them grow. Just before we started the podcast, we were talking about change. Change is a beautiful thing. People change a lot of things. They change their hair color. They change the way they dress. They change, what vehicle they drive. They change jobs. They change houses. They change, unfortunately, spouses. They change their diet. They change a lot of things that are huge. But real change is beyond the natural or superficial. It's supernatural, and it's from the inside out. And that is where change takes place in the closet. That's where growth takes place. Growth comes only after the pain. If you go to the gym and you work out and you do everything you want to do, you can't walk for 3 days. Because when you made that change to do something you hadn't done in a while, you used muscles, you did things you haven't done in a while, and you felt the pain of that change. But you are focused on the growth and the results on the other side of that. And that's where you and I are. We are all about seeing change for the better in people's lives. First, by pointing them to the Lord, and then number 2, pointing them to be in community and relationship with one another, so you can walk the journey together.
Well, if you think about, people are saying that they don't have one person in their life.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. They say it's unusual to even have tattoos, a real rarity. So if that's the case, and you are a person, and you're convicted in Christ Jesus to be a disciple maker and a follower of Jesus, well, how do you get started? Let me ask you this. Are you writing down the people that are most important to you in your life? Have you at least gone as far as to write it down? So I would encourage you, if you have not, write down who the most important people are in your life. Who do you believe that you have influence with? Could be a spouse. I mean, I'm sure that needs to be on the list.
Better be.
Children, okay? So those need to be on the list. Then let's take it a step further. Let's think outside the blood, relationship. Who is somebody, is it a coworker? I know this, God's called you to encourage people. He's called you to give what you've received back out, okay? And so you've got to know who those are. You got to, if you're not writing them down, if you're not really aware of it and you're not thinking about it, then it's going to be a hard time. You're going to have a hard time focusing on it, because a squirrel will run by, or whatever. But if you write it down, there's an intentionality ingredient that has to be there, and you got to write it down. So I would encourage you just do 1 or 2. If you got an extreme amount of ambition and energy, do 3. Okay? But write those down and just start with a very small number, and then ask yourself, how could I be a better influencer, a better developer, a better Jesus follower to this person? Because they're going to copy you. If they're looking up to you and they're watching you and they're trying to see, well, how do you follow Jesus? That's going to be really important to their development. And it's going to take little habits over time of pouring in. And when this person calls, maybe you take extra time with that person.
Sure.
Because they're the top person, When you're putting your day together and you're praying, these 1 or 2 people will be on top of that list. And then guess what happens? You start thinking about this person more. You've made it a priority. This person's been prioritized in your life. So this is the person or people that you pay attention to the most. And so that's how it starts. It's really simple. And I found just getting into those little habits is probably can sound real easy, and it's a little bite-sized chunk, but it will lead to so much more. Because, after a while of developing these little habits, you'll find, we're in the people development business. Making a disciple is a development of a person from going to a knowing nothing sometimes about Jesus and about sanctification, salvation, all these things, to come into a place to where they can stand on their own and believe. And that's the purpose. I mean, that's the great mission of what we're wanting to do. But it's going to start with you taking a role, an intentional role of knowing that you are making a difference in people's lives, and then accepting that responsibility.
That's good. That's good. I was thinking about this. I want to try to throw this in real quick. I remember years ago when I was approached by someone who was in multi-level marketing years ago. And the first thing they did when I sat down with them, they're like, I want you to make a list. I want you to make a list of every single person you know. Well, when I got home and I started writing people's names down, my mind went blank. I just couldn't think of some people. And then when I was thinking of them, then I was like, well, I'm not going to put them down because I know they're not. They will never talk to me.
Yeah, they're going to be embarrassed. It's going to embarrass me when somebody calls.
Yeah. Well, I don't. And here's the thing: I didn't have any influence.
Yeah.
Just because I knew that person didn't mean I had influence with them, and that influence was important in me determining whether I was going to put their name down. Now, there were some people I put their name down because I knew if I could get them in front of someone else who had credibility or who had influence, they would have a better chance. But there were some people I just wasn't going to put on there because I wasn't in relationship with them enough. And
it'd make it weird.
They could. Oh, it would have. So it's when we're in our closet and we're starting our day off, or if we're ending the day and you choose to spend time with the Lord at the end of the day, the question is saying, the thing to pray is, Lord, I want to be a vessel you want to use. Who do you want to cross paths with me? Do you want them to cross? Let me know if it's for a minute, if it's for a week, if it's for a month, if it's for a year. Is that person supposed to be in my life to walk me through something? Lord, I want to be sensitive to you, and you will be shocked at who the Lord will reveal to you. And it's exciting because you embrace that, because both of you will grow regardless. Both of you will benefit from that. And you and I have done that. We have got some incredible stories where the people we were on a journey with that we had invested in and took the initiative to, they in return had a huge role in helping align some things as part of our journey, reaffirm some things. They even helped us get better perspective in what God has called us to do. So I just know that you and I are grateful for the people God has brought in our path. We are grateful for those that said, yes, I'll meet with you. I'll go on a journey with you. And for that, we just say thank you.
Well, how about this? You can't possibly be the fullest in Jesus of what you want to be if you don't pick some people to start developing. You'll never experience the fullness.
That's good. Till next time.
We hope this episode of the Called to Love podcast has enriched your life and offered valuable principles to apply on your personal journey. Please explore our website at www.calledto.love for more information and to share your feedback with us. Until our next episode, may you find peace and love. And always remember, you are called to love.